It's a Matter of Principles by EDU TV. EDU TV with 1 million eyeballs across the globe.
Connecting schools, universities, industries, and corporate houses.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a global audience watching live from every corner of the world. I am Pranav Thakurta, the founder of EDU TV, and it is my great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to each one of you to yet another enlightening episode of It's a Matter of Principles. Today, we are honored to have with us a distinguished guest whose insights and experiences in education have left an indelible mark on countless lives. Joining us is Mr. Pankaj Joshi, the principal of Academic World School, Bemetera, Chhattisgarh, India. Mr. Joshi brings with him a wealth of knowledge accumulated over 24 illustrious years, including a significant tenure at the prestigious The Doon School, Dehradun. Our focus today is on a topic that resonates deeply with all of us: leadership in parenting, nurturing the future. This theme is not just pertinent but essential in shaping the next generation. As parents, educators, and caregivers, the role we play in the development of children is pivotal. To guide us through this insightful discussion, we have the esteemed Miss Mona Mehra, founder of Vision Search, who will lead our dialogue today. Mona brings a unique perspective to our understanding of what constitutes a home, a place where happier families thrive and individuals become more productive in their workplaces. Together, we embark on a journey of discovery and reflection. We aim not only to unravel the complexities of parenting, but also to celebrate the profound impact effective leadership within families can have on holistic development of children. Once again, thank you for joining us on EduTV, where knowledge meets inspiration. Let us now delve into today's conversation with Mr. Pankaj Joshi and our host, Ms. Mona Mehra, and we explore the essence of leadership in parenting. Over to our host, Ms. Mona Mehra.
Thank you, Pranav. Thank you so much. Pankajji, you have so much of experience working with parents and teachers. I'm
Right.
sure you must have come across many instances where you have seen a lot of problems faced by children and you needed the parents' involvement very much to solve the problem. Can you give an example or some situation where you had come across and where you needed the involvement of parent very much?
See, this is something very common nowadays, and in all contexts is quite visible, particularly in day schools as well and in boarding schools. Involving parents is not an easy task. Of course, parents do get involved, but I personally feel the way parents are getting involved nowadays in their children's education, they do not really get involved, but what they are doing is they are only pushing for academics, and it's a pity actually. We will come to that a little later. So one of the instances that I still remember a few years ago, and this was this boy in a boarding house situation, and my most of my experience has been particularly in a boys' boarding. Although right now I'm heading a co-ed school, so this boy had many issues, and he had always been a very bright boy, and he was always good in academics, pretty good in sports, good in interpersonal relationships and everything. He was one of the finest boys who were growing up in school, and I was seeing him as, maybe in the next 2 3 years as a potential school captain or at least a house captain. But something suddenly happened when this particular boy was, say, I think it was around class 8. Either it was end of class 8 or beginning of class 9, something like that. So things suddenly changed for this boy. The boy started remaining quiet, started going down in academics. His performance in sports was, I mean, he was not even interested in sports. So it was a completely downgraded graph from somewhere which was above average to something which is much below average. And there were enough meetings, in a boarding school, how things happen. People are concerned about each other. People keep meeting each other. There is individual attention and so on and so forth. So it was decided that we will have a word with the parent, because at times, what happens is, I think it's the best that schools have a straight dialogue with parents. So initially, when the parents were called, they came together, of course, but initially, for the first few sittings with them, it felt as if everything was normal, and they were good parents, and they were very dedicated towards their son, and so on and so forth. But since we were not going anywhere and we were not able to crack what it was, we decided to involve the school counselor also into it. So once the counselor got involved in it, we realized, or rather, the counselor came out with the fact that everything was not going well between the parents. And that was what was getting into the life of this kid. And that is what troubled him, because he did not have anybody to talk to. There were family issues. There was no one else in the family whom he could share all this with. He could not share it with either of the parents. So it was a completely messed up situation. Of course, we did talk to the parents, we did counsel them, and ultimately they were not able to be together. But yes, counseling and giving the parents the right path and telling them the importance of their son in their lives, at least we were able to ensure that no matter what the relationship between the two parents was, at least their relationship with the kid that remained. And the kid got both the affection of the father and the affection of the mother, not together, but at least separately, we were able to salvage that much of it. So the point I'm trying to make is that education is, I think, a responsibility of each and every individual on earth, be it parents, be it students, be it teachers. So this was one incident which actually has a lot of impression on me, and strengthened my belief that there has to be a cooperation, there has to be a collaboration, there has to be a very, very solid 360-degree feedback mechanism between schools and parents and teachers and students.
Absolutely. What you said is absolutely right, because we don't live in silos. We actually
Yeah.
are a part of a family, and then we become a part of a school, and then we grow up
Yes.
and become a part of other things. So what you said is absolutely right. The influence of parents is a very large part on a
Yes.
child. So, but they here also, did you get I'm just asking, like
Yeah.
the onus of leadership, leading a child, did you get the onus to the parents? Because what I see is the parents do not take the onus of their responsibility. What do you have to say on that?
I mean, you are absolutely correct in that, because I mean, often as a head of school now, more than earlier when I was a teacher, one of the things that parents say to us is very, very simple. They have a one-liner. They say, "We have given you the child. It's your responsibility now, to shape up the child." Schools are not running away from responsibility. Yes, it is our responsibility. But all I want to say is it is not 100% onus on us. The onus goes on to each and every individual. As I said, every individual who walks on planet Earth, the focus goes on it. And I have an analogy for this. This is how, in fact, a few days ago, I was talking to my new parents in my school. There was a parent orientation day. So I told them, I said, imagine a triangle, and there are three corners in a triangle. So the three corners of the triangle are, the top one is the parent, and the two bottom ones are the school and the teachers in the school. And the third one is the student. And if these points are not connected with each other, they are 3 points which could be placed anywhere. But if you connect them, then we get a closed shape, which is called a triangle. And society is inside the triangle and outside the triangle. So that's what society is. That's what culture is. That's what context is. And this is how I understand it. Because if any of these three points are disturbed, the shape of my entire triangle changes. So, and this is the impact I am making on the child. Because adults and the school, they don't take the impact. Even if adults are impacted, they know how to deal with that impact. Schools know how to deal with that impact. We are trained, but the child is not trained enough to deal with that impact. And that is where the role of the parent as a leader is more than the school. Because the parent actually, I mean, whatever one may feel, I'm not trying to shift the responsibility on the parents. I know the school's responsibility, but I think the primary responsibility of shaping the primary years of the student, of the child, lies with the parent. And that's where the book is actually written. The first few, or I mean, the book can be anything. The preface has to be of the book written by the parents. The
Well
schools
said.
will take it forward, of course, but the preface will have to be written by the parent. And the life of the child will depend on the preface that the parents write. If the preface is a well established plot, the book will definitely be a good and a great story. If there are flaws with the preface, there will be flaws with the book as well.
Very well said. I still remember a saying, it takes a village to build a child.
Exactly.
Exactly, that is what it means, that it's not an individual responsibility of just the schools. It is
Yeah.
the responsibility of the parents as a society at large, which builds the child to a person with character. Because see, it boils down to the individual building of the character of an individual. And when we are talking about parents, then we come down to, the self-leadership of an individual, which is very important to lead the child. And when I talk about individual leadership, I'm sure we are talking about character building, and what is that we are building in a child that parents should know that that is what needs to be inculcated. But please elaborate.
Yeah. I mean, the basic thing is what parents need to understand. One basic question, and it's more in developing countries than in developed countries. Parents need to understand what parenting is and what kind of parenting do I want to choose for my children. That is very, very important to understand. And that's what I feel is parent leadership. Because I as a parent have to decide right from the time when the child is 1 year or 1.5 years, or whenever the child starts, talking, and different kids they develop differently. So I as a parent have to decide my style of leading the family, of leading the child, my style of parenting. So I mean, there are basically three types of, you know, parenting styles, right? There may be many different classifications of that. But I recently read a book, a very interesting book, not recently, actually, this was about 8 years ago. There's a book called Dolphin Parenting, and it's written by an American Indian called Dr. Shimi Kang. So this is one of the most fantastic books I've read on parenting. And it says that there are three styles of parenting. The first one is the tiger style of parent. The second one is the jellyfish style of parenting. And the third is, of course, the dolphin style of parenting. So, I mean, the tiger style of parenting is basically an authoritarian parent, who simply tells the child what to do or what not to do, right? So the child has very, very solid frameworks, cannot go beyond that. And most of the times, the child tries to cross the lines. He or she is either frowned upon or punished, or, so these are the parents who just have decided by the time their child is 2, they have already decided what the child is going to do in their lives, what are they going to become, what profession they are going to choose, which school they are going to go. Sometimes they are successful, so they are happy, and more often than not, I think the child may be able to get the profession that their parents want them to, but I don't think they are able to develop a happy child, because most of the times, all the child has done is he or she has simply obeyed their parents. So I don't know where all that cognitive development goes, the right to make choices, the art of making choices, to learn how to fight in life, to learn how to, carry yourself in life. So all those things. So that's one style of parenting. The other one, which is again one interesting style of parenting, is a jellyfish style of parenting, where the parents actually lose all authority on the kid. So if the kid cries, he gets an ice cream, and if the kid cries, the parents say, okay, don't go to school today. So whatever the child wants, the child gets by sometimes, bullying their parents, by sometimes getting the sympathy of their parents. So basically, uh, the jellyfish parenting is a parenting where parents are very soft and can be molded by the children, which is again, a very, very dangerous, because children, whatever age they may be, they cannot really be held responsible for defining what their life is going to be. Parents have to play a big role. So the third style is called the jellyfish style. Sorry, the dolphin style. The dolphin style. The dolphin style is exactly the same way in which a mother dolphin rather, leads a herd of young dolphins in the sea. What she does is she lets the young dolphins go a bit ahead, and then the moment the mother dolphin sees that they are committing a mistake, she goes ahead and turns them onto the right way. And that is what is dolphin parenting is. So you support your kids, but at the same time, you tell them that this is wrong. You listen to them, but you also wag your fingers when needed. So it is a balance of being authoritative and authoritarian. You help them in making the right choice. You empathize with them. And in the end, you know what will happen? The parents will actually be able to create such a sweet and lovely relationship with their children that the children will never ever hide anything from them. Because see, one of the things which tiger parents face, the authoritative parents face, is that the children start hiding things from them because they know the consequence. The consequence is always going to be a punishment of some sort, because children will be children. They will be committing mistakes. And
Absolutely.
particularly, I'm talking in the context of adolescents. Adolescents are prone to committing mistakes. We need to support them at that point of time. So
Absolutely.
this is so in the third style of parenting, that is the dolphin style of parenting. You are not, as a parent, we are not taking any decisions on their behalf. We are letting them take decisions. So we are being a leader, and the children are actually being led into a path which they also buy into, and they are also aware of the consequences. Children will still make mistakes, and we will have to, wag our fingers where we have to, but we can't shirk from our responsibilities. That, I think, is a wonderful example of parent leadership.
Absolutely. Very well explained, Pankaj, because I believe, I've worked in corporates a lot, and we come
Right.
across, the three kinds of leadership styles we have is authoritative, then there is laissez-faire, and then in between is participation. That is participatory, where we are getting the other person to participate that's the middle side style of leadership. And I believe, as working with children, I have two kids of my own. I have, listened to them, guided them, mentored
Yes.
them, put them in the right path, because they have, moved away from the path. They have failed. They have gotten up, up again. So it takes a lot to make a child into a leader. And as a parent, you are leading your children, and very well explained. And I think as a leader, we are doing a lot of work. So what is one, suggestion, or one thing, guidance you want to give to the parents as such, where you can, just tell them that what is one thing that they should keep in mind while leading their child, or better bonding with their child, because eventually we need to bond with our child better.
Exactly. I think, I was in a leadership workshop, and, I was doing it for student leaders. And I just told them one thing. I said, one of the most important things a leader has to do, and this is the first thing a leader should be doing, and it applies to parent leadership as well: learn the art of listening. You have to listen to your kid, because you can only give advice once you listen to them. If you just don't listen to them and tell them to shut up, well, they are never going to share anything with you. It applies to parents, it applies to leaders, it applies to teachers, it applies to corporate leaders, it applies to politicians, ministers. I think it applies to everyone. If one can develop the art of listening, then you come to know what the person sitting in front of you wants to say. What are they actually expecting? Because I think 60, 70, 80% of the times, actually, when somebody just comes up with a complaint, they do not want a solution, actually. They just want somebody to listen and empathize. And if we are able to do that, we win hearts. And that's all we need to do as parents. Because see, there's no, in a corporate situation or in a school situation, there are things at stake. In a home relationship, there's nothing at stake. Parents and children can be open with each other. I mean, I have also known of parents who very clearly discuss their financial situation with their children. I mean, they are lucky. Because I remember, I mean, I can share this with you on camera. I do this very regularly with my kids because they need to know what is our financial condition, till what extent can we, extend things. Because every parent cannot buy everything. For someone, buying a soap is also very expensive, and someone can buy a YSL soap. So those things have to be defined. So children have to be brought to that level, and only parents can do that. This art cannot be taught anywhere in any school. This has to be done by parents.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very true. Very well said that it is the parents who define, what is the kind of finances and everything. Because I also discuss, my kids are growing up now, and now my daughter is going to post graduation, so I know that. I will talk about more about the home leadership aspect, where parent leadership is a part, and we have so many things that are happening. And home environment plays a very vital role in bringing up children, because it is like I relate always it to a culture in an organization, because there is certain culture in an organization which is very vital for the people to how they react and how they act in an organization. And when you are building your own family, it's your own team that you are building, and it's your
Yeah.
own organization you are building. And the home environment plays a very vital role, because I am mother, and my husband is the father. I remember I'm very, I try few things that is a part of innovation. And that tells my children that they have the ability, they can try new things at home. It's okay. I won't, even if they fail, I would not, scream or shout at them. It's okay. It happens. That is a part of trials. And what do you think is the way, what is the home environment? How important is that? And how should parents, build a good home environment for their children? What is your
See, I mean, I don't even need to answer that question, frankly speaking. Your answer actually is in the question. Home environment is obviously the most important thing, right? Certain behaviors that parents need to do. Of course, I mean, I don't need to repeat them. There will be tussles between parents, husband and wife are there. So all those things have to be settled by the husband and wife, away from the eyes of the children, right? But at the same time, there has to be, the children needs to be shown that there is so much of openness in the relationship with the children and amongst the parents. So a home environment has to be an environment where, let's say, in the context of nuclear families, nowadays there are generally four people living under a roof, right? A husband, a wife, and two kids. That's what normally it is. And in most cases, in the current generation, now it's only one kid. So everybody has enough space of its own. So the one more important thing that we have to create is, everybody loves their own space. So we need to create space where all the entire family can come together. This is one thing that families are missing nowadays. Husbands are busy in their corporates or with their friends of the corporate. Wives are busy with, their friends, and when they come home, they have somebody to cook for them. Then they go into their rooms. Children are busy in their rooms. So I think every home needs to create a certain time and a place and an environment where the entire family can come and sit together and talk about, without any inhibitions, talk about anything under the sun. And this should be done uh, almost every day where possible. That's one thing, very, very important. And the second thing is maintaining contact with your extended families, maintaining contact with your grandparents, maintaining contact with your uncles who may not be in the same city at times. And nowadays, these things are so easy. Just a little video call, calling your masi somewhere, or calling your uncle somewhere, or your dadaji, elder brother somewhere in the US, or in Delhi or anywhere. So these are things, and children need to be told to do this. Because nowadays, what happens? Parents in itself are too busy maintaining contact with the extended families that the children actually don't have any connection with their extended families. We have to build a support system in the families. Home environment will be as positive as our support systems, because if our support systems are there, the environment cannot be negative, because the kid knows, okay, my father is in the US right now, I cannot call him up and I have a problem, he will be sleeping at night, but I have my tayaji to call up, he can support me on this. This is the kind of things we have to create. One of the strengths of our country, particularly I'm talking about the Indian culture, one of the strengths of our country is the family system. And that is why this country has been able to survive the various financial crises that we went through, because it was never my money in families. It was always our money. And we were all able to survive that.
Absolutely.
So I I think environment is something which I have to decide. If I think my environment is my little nuclear family, it will remain that. And if I want to expand that, there is no limit to it. And that is something I think every parent must strive for and give it forth to the next generation, that is their children. I don't
Absolutely.
know whether I have answered your question or not, but I think that's what I feel about this. Yeah.
Absolutely, you've answered it absolutely to the T, that you said that it is the extended family, because our own strength as an Indian was our family system. We grew up in the joint family system, and now the families are coming down to nuclear, and now they are just single child families, because I already have two brothers of mine who have single, uh,
Yeah.
and some of them who have that connection outside. I have one of a friend who has very strong connection. She has built very strong connection with her brother, Tayaji, and everybody, so that child is not lonely. She says, I can call up anybody and I can go there, I'm not lonely. But those, I have seen those who do not have that connection, and I have seen that loneliness in the child, because that child does not know where to go then. So very well said, Pankaj, that it is about creating connections, and it is about, it's you decide as parents that how you want to build your family. Very well said, and thank you so much. Pranav, I think we have crossed, you said 15 minutes, we crossed over the time, and over to you. Thank you so much for such a lovely conversation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joshi. It's always pleasure and very
My
informative
pleasure,
hearing.
Pranav.
And thank you, Miss Mona, also. I think I know Mona from last 1.5 year. I really enjoy meeting her, listening to her. She's doing wonderful work in terms of family making. And Pankaj sir, I think you are doing a great job. And yeah, I think a place like Bemitra, you are, I think, transforming students. So formally, I would like to just conclude it. Thank you so much. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speakers, Mr. Pankaj Joshi and Ms. Mona Mehra. Your profound insights and passionate contributions have enriched our discussion on leadership in parenting today. Your dedication to education and family dynamics is an inspiration to us all. Thank you for sharing your expertise and wisdom.
It's a Matter of Principles by EDU TV. EDU TV with 1 million eyeballs across the globe.
Connecting schools, universities, industries, and corporate houses.